talking about child's play today, y'all. Broken families, separation, and how we can heal it. So, the first course of order I want to address is what's happening in the planets right now. Heavy activity in Gemini. Pretty much the theme is Gemini. We want to tap into the personality of the Gemini in order to make the best out of our current reality. Follow our podcast. What more can I say? So y'all can learn something or just remember stuff. This ain't no lesson, but we do a podcast every day called What More Can I Say? And What More Can I Say goes over the daily transits and explains how that affects us psychologically. When we comprehend what's happening with ourselves, then we're much more equipped to handle what happens in our relationships. So the first course of action is learning how to tap into ourselves. This is a conversation that is taking a long while for people to catch on to, but I'm patient. I don't care. With psychology is the study of the mind, and different groups, quote unquote, are more familiar with this practice, this science, this art than the melanin-rich community. And the melanin-rich community has some very key psychological things happening. Actually, the melanin-rich community is at the top of the charts as far as stuff happening to us. Like, we run the top of the charts in relation to what's not right with the mind. When we talk about mental illness, mental disease, mental conditions, we're talking really a lot to the melanin-rich community who's not very well familiar with a lot of these psychological terms like narcissist. We can hear that and it can be very triggering, but it's because we don't comprehend the actual definition of an energy vampire. You know, you hear these things and it's so easy to become offended, but knowledge is key. So the first step in relation to knowledge that's going to serve us right now is knowledge on self. What can we do in that I am energy of self in order to serve us? How can we serve ourselves better at the end of the day? That's what this whole shit is about. So I'm letting y'all know, for myself personally, when I recognized that I had to create a new reality because my reality was too fucking overwhelming, I literally did go to the cosmos, and the sky helped me make peace with what I was seeing in the physical. That's why the gift of the podcast, What More Can I Say, is gifted to everyone. It's free. And the blurbs are anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes on average. Sometimes we do have longer messages that can be around 20 minutes, but you get every second worth of what you're searching for. If it's a short show, then it's getting straight to the point. But if it's a longer show, then it's something else for us to emphasize and focus on and what we're initially familiar with. So the first course of action in self-healing, so that we can heal our child's play, right, is studying self, giving ourselves some love. The second step in healing our child's play is becoming familiar with Kundalini science. Kundalini science encapsulates epigenetics, which is where we change the chemistry of our inside body and directly relate that to the change on the exterior of our reality. So let's say, you know, we got a hard knock life, right? It's a hard knock life. You fill in the details. If you look at the plate of somebody who's living a hard knock life, odds are they're not eating a lot of food that feeds their cells. People that live in a more dense, focused reality tend to be people who are limited in their thoughts, and our limitation on our thoughts is administered through the food that we eat and the drinks that we drink. When we are intaking stuff, like, our body is an incredible machine. It heals itself, period. The body heals itself. It don't need no help. When we bring our human being selves into the equation, we be adding food, we be adding drinks, we be adding medicine, and then we add media, and it's just overhaul. Our soul doesn't know what to make of it. So becoming familiar with Kundalini science is the perfect way to awaken not only yourself, but your entire tribe. When you start eating more consciously, yes, you do start feeling happier. Legit, like, no lie. And I'm not just saying that off my own personal experience, which I've had for at least 5 years now. I'm saying that based off of different people I've encountered, my own clients, different people that inspired me in my journey, different people I've come in contact with. Like, the body is electrical. That's what we learned from Dr. Sabi, right? And electrical sources require electrical fuel. And if we're fueling ourselves with something that's the opposite of electric, then we're not fueling our bodies. So, eating consciously is the act of paying attention to whatever it is that we about to eat, how it's going to affect our body. But there will be additional information on these services. I've been doing some Sabi Sense videos lately, and I think now I'm going to bring it on over here to Instagram, because I love the fact that it's so much freedom. Thanks, sis. I'm going to get into the hair in just a sec, but it's a part of the healing journey that I'm initiating right now, so thank you for noticing. But yeah, we've been doing some dope ass shit on Facebook Live, but we're going to bring it over here to IGTV. So stay tuned for that. The changes will be in effect immediately, but I will be announcing the dates for when the live videos will ensue. With us doing the Sabi Sense videos, it's only right that we do some twerking videos too, right? So Fuck It Up Fridays is an initiative that was started by my tribe and I about 2 weeks ago. We just completed Fuck It Up Friday for week number 2 yesterday. You guys can go over to Facebook. Facebook is Hello, my name is Angela, just like this account. But on Facebook, include spaces. On this one, we don't have no spaces, and we use the underscore. Facebook, no underscore, and use spaces. Hello, my name is Angela. And you will see, yesterday I did 2 twerk videos. One on Kundalini Yoga, and then one focusing on the twerk movements of the week. We did 2 of them. And then we did a Sabi Sense Facebook Live on Wednesday, which again will be switched over to IGTV, because I'm loving the setup over here. So stay tuned for the dates. And the whole reason for why we do this. Why do we eat consciously? Why do we exercise? It's not about our body. Our body knows how to fix itself. But why would we even care about fixing our body? What's the bottom line? The bottom line is learning how to make peace with unconditional love. And the practice of living a conscious life is self-love and self-care, right? But how do we take that self-love and share it with the outside world? I deal with real life situations. I have 2 children that I birthed, and I have some bonus children as well. How do you get over the drama of relationships and still move on? How do you create peace in totally chaotic realities? This the process right here, and I'm living proof, you heard? I used to be thicker. I used to be bigger, like fatter, I had more meat on my body, okay? That's what I want to communicate. Very disconnected, especially emotionally. definitely not rocking fun hairdos like this, okay? I am getting my whole life right now. And it's definitely because of the path that I'm walking. And I'm just sharing my journey. I'm so happy to be back on IGTV. Okay, let me finish with this and then I'll go into my little FYI and then we'll end this. With the conscious uncoupling, this is specific to twin flame and soulmate relationships because we are the leaders. The twin flames are the human beings who created themselves as separate physical avatars of the same soul. It does exist. And then soulmates could be male or female, could be romantic or otherwise, could be family, could be friends. And these are people that we contractually wrote into our personal movie called life so that we could remember certain life lessons and move on to our next phase. All of our enemies are for sure our soulmates. All of our enemies are for sure our soulmates. One more again. All of our enemies are for sure our soulmates. So whether our enemy is some broad that we was fighting over, some dude, whether our enemy is our baby mama, our baby daddy, whether our enemy is our parents, at the end of the day, anything on the outside represents what's on the inside. So we taking this thing all the way from scratch, okay? Yeah, my twins is all over the place right now, okay? This Gemini energy, we have like 5 different major planetary things happening in the astrological sign Gemini. If you want to know more about this, check out What More Can I Say podcast, and you can gain access to it. The easiest way is just to go through us on Facebook, look up Jupiter Love. I'll include this stuff in the story so you guys can follow along. But long story short, I've created a whole nother path, sharing the different tools that have healed me and my kind, and we're offering everybody the opportunity to join so that we can get this thing going together. We are soulmates together, and if you're paying attention to this video, then you my soulmate, boo, and I'm yours, and we got to get to work, okay? Now, with conscious uncoupling, it's the act of ending a romantic union in peace, with the number one premise being unconditional love. Even though the relationship didn't work out, you still wish that partner well, especially if children were the result of that union. So with conscious uncoupling, it's going through the process of exploring ourselves on a psychological basis so we can comprehend what our attachment types are. We'll know why we love the way we love. When we know that, then we'll know why we attract who we attract. And then we'll also know the real root of what our motives are. With my twin flame relationship, initially, what we've done so far, it hasn't felt fair to me, but that's because my focus was doing anything I felt like I needed to do to keep the man in my life, not considering that maybe he'll be in my life if I wasn't doing the most. So if we consider what life looks like when we do what we want to do and still unify, that's how we're recreating reality. And this is such a huge effort that a pandemic had to occur so everybody could have their asses at home. Take care home, right? Like voice super not okay. But so what? I still enjoy singing. Anyway, we want to take care of home. And the galaxy is guiding us to start with ourselves. So if the galaxy is guiding us to start with ourselves, that means that whatever pettiness we had, we got to lay to rest. Because guess what? In real life, our babies are looking at us full time in real life. And we don't get no do-overs. Our children are going to regurgitate what they have taken in. It's not a conversation. It's an observation. And there's a difference. Okay? So, in light of all that, I am creating some Patreon accounts because I gotta live, y'all. Recreating my life in this light has not been easy at all, but I've come across a couple different jewels, and I recognize that the entire world is finding themselves in their version of this reality right now, where we all have to be creative with our thoughts and figuring out how we're going to make it. How are we going to save our homes, save our relationships, make some money, and still do the things that we set out to do when we were working for an employer? How can we still pay attention to the things that we think are really important on a massive level, right? That affects the collective. And how can we find a way to share our message and still profess peace? That's all right here. That's what I'm communicating with all of you. So stay tuned. That Patreon information will be out soon. That's why I've kind of been all over the place with what I've been sharing. But just look forward to a whole lot of goodness, man. The cool thing about remembering our soul is that we reinforce the lessons that our soul need for us to honor the most when we pick up our phone and we talk. When we do live videos, live streams, webinars, when we share our skills. That's when we are doing the work that we volunteered on earth to do in the first place. So yeah, I just want to invite you guys to support. Not just with your money, not just with showing up, but sharing with other people, specifically your enemies. The only enemy we ever have is the enemy that we see within ourselves. And if we don't see an enemy within ourselves, then we don't have no enemy on the outside of ourselves either. Yesterday, I went to a goddess meetup. That's what the Facebook Live was initially talking about. At this goddess meetup, it was like about 15 different goddesses, right? Super dope. Some women just now getting on their spiritual journey, with this pandemic. It's really put the axe on a lot of people's career life. So people that will hide behind work and not really do any of the emotional work, they kind of feel lost now, and they're kind of like, well, wait. One thing I do know is that I enjoy being around cool energy. Like, I want to be around the energy that feels good to me. Well, when you make that conscious choice to be around conscious people so that you could be in a good mood, it also puts us in a place of accountability. Because if you in a conscious environment, you must be aware of your own energy. If you're going somewhere to get some good energy, you got to give what you get, right? So then all of this mindful stuff that is talked about all the time and really professed heavily over this whole Rona 2020 pandemic is like life. If and when this pandemic ever ends, our lives are never going to go back to what we knew it to be, ever. And the planets are telling us that that's okay. It's nothing for us to fear. Yes, we've never been here before. We can look at reality in any perspective possible. Like, pay attention to the news. Look at what's happening in politics. Look at quantum astrology. Pay attention to the different energetic, intuitive people out there that's talking about, what the cards are saying or what their channeled messages are actually detailed in. But it's a lot that's happening right now. We are awakening. And now is the time for us to feel safe in knowing that we can share our truths in a way that feels good to us, that's safe. And that's all I wanted to say in this Facebook Live. Let me shout out everybody that has been on here. Peace to New Vegan Queen. Peace to Glenn Stein, Rodney. Peace to Dwayne. Dwayne LeGrant. Peace to L.A. Varago. Peace to Kenny Black. Peace to Real Talks TS. Peace to Namaste 0305. Peace to Enticed by Alicia. Peace to Discovering All Over Again. And peace to Tony C592. Peace to Chris _Francis 22. And peace to Mrs. Lisa 49. Peace to Prettiest Soul in the world. Wake up, guys. It's time for us to get together. In closing, I want to say that yesterday I spent a majority of my day enjoying time with my daughter, quality time. And I did some feeder braids on both of us. I used like some kind of Jamaican hair, and we used some other silkier type of hair for her. And we used like different little head ornaments to decorate our hair. And then I brought her to the goddess meetup with me yesterday. So now is the time for us to be to our daughters, mothers, be to our daughters who we were looking for when we were little. Fathers, be to our sons who we were looking for when we were little. And let's also be the representation of the other sex for the children that are our sons and we're mothers, and that are our daughters and we're sons. It's time to unify. And everything that we've experienced so far has either been a lesson or a blessing, period. We get to decide what we pay attention to as the directors of our personal movie called life. And I'm so happy to be back on Instagram. I'm so relieved. And thank you for saying that, sis. She says, thanks for sharing space. Thank you, Discovering All Over Again. I appreciate it. But it's awakening time, y'all. I'm going to holler at you soon because I could talk on here for eons, but I actually have work to do. So I'll see y'all later. Thank you for your time, your love, your light, and all that. And get ready for some explosiveness in relation to your heart when enjoying this awakening experience, because we are awakening to unconditional loves in ways that our ancestors never even experienced. That's who was guiding me when I did my hair. So I'll talk to y'all later. The inner child in me is finna go get some bubbles and blow 'em. I'll see y'all. Peace. And support.